I'll tell you what, Mike. The
Go
US
on.
are pumping out some good black metal at the minute, aren't they?
USBM.
USBM, correct.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
T-
But they are. I do find myself quite whenever I see the sort of USBM tag, I do get quite excited because there just seems to be a good run of stuff coming out from there at the moment.
a lot of this modern USBM has this very triumphant, I don't want to say positive, but like a lot more.
Youth Crew.
Yeah, positive youth crew straight edge black metal. Has a lot. There's a lot more melody to the stuff coming out with this kind of new age US black metal stuff. It's really cool. So today we're
It's
talking.
really melodic as well, isn't it? Most of it. I mean, this one is is incredibly melodic.
It is. So today we're talking. All right, I don't know how to pronounce this. Wyrblod,
Sounds like you put an accent on.
Wyrblod, Wyrblod, blood.
Could be Wyrblod. Wyrblod.
Wyrblod. Let us know. Celestial
Were
Mantle.
any of John's attempts close?
Yeah, was I there?
Sort
Celestial
of West
Mantle.
Country accent. Wyrblod.
Wyrblod. So this
There's Wyrblod in the water there, Margie.
do the whole thing from the Shire. This is I believe this is a full length, even though it's
Yeah, I take umbrage with that a little bit.
yeah, it's so it's like 4 tracks, 3 songs, and then like a kind of 18-minute synth piece at the end. So I mean, I guess in length it is a full length.
It is. Technically, it is. Yeah.
But I mean, you could call it a mini LP. This is the first I'd heard of this band. It's
A little bit under the radar.
not sure, potentially.
I think I just found them on Bandcamp.
Really,
Hmm.
I loved it straight from the off, man. I was intrigued by the cover art. I was like, okay, this looks kind of like it might be up my street. And then straight away, you're just blasted with like this super infectious lead line and like powerful pummeling blasts
Yeah.
that sort of like go for a couple of bars, and then like the lead line morphs a little bit, and immediately I was like, all right, this has got me hooked. And it manages to like hit you with like an overwhelming level of like power. Especially there's like some really cool dynamic shifts around like 3 minutes 40 into the song. It's like at first you think it's going to go quite evil because a lot of it's quite triumphant, but it doesn't. It sort of keeps that triumphant level but just adds a lot more power to it. I'm not quite sure how they managed it, but it was so well done.
Oh, I know the bit you mean. That was probably my highlight, probably my favorite section of the album. That they do like a pick slide into the first time they do it, and it's this great triumphant like guitar melody line. It's really really good. Yeah, I love that bit.
Really cool. Then track 2. I mean, I'm glossing over track 1. Track 1 was really cool, but I feel like track 2 is where things started to like explore. There's a bit more of an influence that comes in from like other areas that we'll talk about when we get to that point in the song. So like you start with a bit more like of a clean emotive lead that sort of like all comes together when the distortion comes in. You get these heavy chords underneath it. Then there's that introduction again of blasts and stuff, but there is a lot more like straight drum beats and simple lead lines within this song that sort of counteract this. There's another riff that goes on that's quite almost dizzying. It's like there's a lot of hammer-ons, and it's a bit more complex guitar-wise. I think it's a really nice counterweight to the simplicity of some of the stuff. But there was a moment, Mike, I want to talk about that, and I imagine you loved this bit. It was around 3 minutes 40. It almost went quite post-metal in a way. The chord progression reminded me of something ISIS would do, but then the guitar licks felt almost like really early Remission era Mastodon. It was really unique and not something I was expecting in a kind of like black metal record. And then it went like really chuggy after it. It was really interesting.
Yeah, wait, was that what was the? I think I might have got this on the wrong song, but what was the one where they did like almost a hardcore chugging? Was that this one? Or was that track 3?
That was track 3.
I thought so. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I know the bit you mean, and it was great, and it was interesting. As you said, this song does sort of conjure in influences from elsewhere because I felt like the first parts of it, and you might not like this, but I felt like there was this sort of fine line between
There we go.
my second wave emo.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it.
You could hear it. Not that I'm not talking the the sort of pop punk emo 2000s. I'm talking the sort of more indie college rock
Yeah.
90s kind of thing. But you had that pick guitar. The production was almost quite similar in a way as well. And one thing that I thought really stood out in this album compared to others of this style is the bass. The bass is
Yeah.
so prominent in the mix and is
Mhm.
such. I think it really is almost the star of the show in a lot of aspects because a lot of counter melodies. I feel like it drives the song forward quite a lot as well, and I think it adds a lot of weight behind the sound as well. I think that's probably when you were saying how powerful it is. It's probably part of the reason why is because the bass is so prominent in the sound.
The bass is really, like you said, very driving. There's a lot of moments, and especially in track
It's
3, which
loud as well, isn't it? It's
it
actually
is.
quite
It,
pretty loud.
it is loud. But the thing is, I actually thought the production on this overall was really good. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was very full and it was very powerful, but it never felt like overproduced or like
Oh, not at all.
or
No, no.
silly. It was really well done. Yeah, talking of the bass, then like track 3, Blackluster, you had this kind of it starts with like just like a pounding like rhythm that's going continuously with these kind of like ringing out chords, but it's actually the bass that's like really driving that section. It really
Mm.
punches through. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's like a count. It's because those chords are really simple, aren't they? And then the bass is doing something a little bit counter to that. And it
Yeah,
actually keeps that section interesting.
yeah. And then what I really enjoyed on this song, or on that moment, was like there was a really short drum fill that just sort of transitioned out of that like rhythmic like boom 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 into like, it was just such a short fill that went into the blast section, but it like transitioned from like the kind of mid pace to the really fast, like seamlessly. It was such a cool
Yeah,
little fill. And then like maybe my favorite bit on the mini album, shall we say, it was around 1 minute 55. There was such a good riff. It was really metallic, but it was like, it was really unexpected. And the bass was sort of playing it too. It wasn't just sort of hitting the root notes. It was like also following the kind of,
following it. Yeah.
yeah. And it just really punched that moment in. It was so cool.
There was some nice surprises in this actually. Like it almost felt like when you kind of got an idea of what this was doing, it would chuck a little extra thing at you to be like, no, there's actually some other
Yeah.
influences here as well, which I think always keeps this thing, this interesting.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then
it's not your straight raw black metal, is it?
no, not at
It's,
all, not at all.
there's a lot of influence, even though it's quite
And
small. It's, yeah.
but you can hear, you can kind of tell that whoever's behind it is maybe from other scenes prior to doing this. You can hear.
It feels like there's yeah, like you said, we'll talk about that moment in a minute, but like that kind of
I feel like that
hardcore.
with a lot of US black metal though, don't you? Like so
Yeah.
much of it we listen to, you hear it and you go, they were in hardcore bands. Like you can just hear it
Yeah.
in the approach and things like that.
So let's talk about that bit actually. So towards the end, it was around 5 minutes 35.
Oh my, it's almost like someone shouting "What's up, Hellfest?" Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like they fully commit to it.
In my notes, I put a beatdown, question mark,
Yeah,
exclamation mark.
is it? I was listening to going. Is it a beatdown or is it just more of like a chugging kind of thing? It's sort of
If
yeah,
I guess maybe context, but like it, for all intents and purposes, it is a beatdown, isn't it? Like, let's be
yeah,
honest.
yeah,
If Throwdown did that, you'd be like, all right, that's mosh worthy.
yeah,
But what I enjoyed about it, it was, there was some slight discordance to it, and
yeah,
the accents on the, like, there was some cool like embellishments on the accents, but again, it really reminded me of like early Remission era Mastodon.
yeah.
It just
But
had
that's what
that,
I mean. It had a chugginess as well that maybe wasn't kept it not from sounding too disconnected
yeah,
from what they were doing.
yeah. That song was really cool. I mean, all 3 songs were really good.
Strong.
I had such a good time
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
those songs.
What about the fourth song?
4th song was an interesting one. 18
Was it
minutes.
though?
Uh, uh, Interesting to talk about in the sense that it wasn't interesting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like what it was interesting in the sense that it was there. It just felt really out of place, and it was just
it
like
felt, yeah.
18 minutes of, and it wasn't even like a. It was very ambient. It wasn't like a.
I
Mel-
listened to the whole thing.
you did.
Well, because I thought it something
Something
was
was
going to kick
coming.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I wanted to be there for the moment because the 3 songs prior was so strong.
yeah.
I was thinking, right, 18 minutes. I'm guessing, this is going to build up for 5, and then there's going to be
A wallop,
some,
a melody,
yeah,
something.
yeah, in the middle, and then it's going to then maybe do the same at the end or whatever.
Nope.
And no, it just kept going and going and going. And I think there's like it sort of fades in, doesn't there? It's almost like it's not static, but it's almost kind of just like noise, isn't it?
Mm.
For about maybe 8 minutes before the synth sort of you first really can notice the synth part. Um,
Yeah, it's
and then
it's a
that feels
strange choice.
slow. And then it brings on another layer sort of later on. And it got to about 15 minutes and I thought,
Hang
nothing's
on.
gonna happen here,
Hang
is
on a
there?
minute.
Yeah, nothing's happening.
I was a bit annoyed by it, to be honest, because everything before it was so like melody packed, and like ideas were like flying everywhere, and it was like really well done. And then it was just felt it wasn't the right release for like an 18-minute
No,
ambient.
that's what I felt like about it, and I thought the longer it went on, the more disconnected it felt from the rest
The more
of.
annoyed you got.
Well, no, it wasn't that I got annoyed, but I thought this now doesn't sound anything
Yeah.
like if that bit was in there as like, I don't know, even if it was 8 minutes long, which is still a lot, but even if it was condensed down to that and it was put in there, it would feel more at home with the rest of the tracks because just because of length, but the fact
Yeah.
that it's probably just nearly as long as all the other 3 songs combined makes it feel like it's supposed to be. I don't know, it just feels like it should have been something totally separate to this.
Do you think if there were moments of ambient synth throughout, like maybe an interlude between track 2 and 3, that it might have bridged that gap a bit more? Because it just felt so.
Potentially, but even then, I really think you could at least shave 10 minutes off of that. It's just
Yeah.
I think the time length is excessive,
Yeah, it's 20,
um,
18 minutes. It's like, yeah.
and I just didn't feel like it was interesting enough to go on that long. It's
Yeah.
not like listening to old sorcery or something where those parts are so interesting and there's so many layers and
Yeah.
changes and things like that. I'm not saying it was a bad piece of music. It's just
No.
it's very minimal. It's very slow moving, and I just think coming from 3 really strong, interesting black metal songs into an 18 minute kind of ambient piece that's you know I don't want to say I've said bog standard. It's not what I feel like what they were doing with the 3 songs beforehand was a really interesting take on modern US black metal, whereas
Yeah.
this was not a very interesting take on modern synth or dungeon synth or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it just didn't feel as innovative as the rest of the EP, and because of the length, it felt like it dominated time
Yeah.
on it.
Well, it did. It did. And it's
Yeah,
different. Like, referring back to our last video with Aftoctonia, they had like a 16-minute synth track that was like similar in kind of pace, but like
slow move. Yeah,
it was within the context of the record.
yeah.
It felt right, whereas this just felt a little tacked on in a way, but just unnecessarily.
It did, yeah. I think the fact it was at the end as well felt tacked on. Although if it was in the middle, it probably been more annoying in that sense.
That's
Like,
true. Yeah.
because I mean, let's be honest. I know that I will go and check this out a lot more, but I will only listen to tracks 1 to 3. I can't see myself listening
Yeah.
to track 4.
No, no, nor me, which is not what you want from a
No.
release.
Whereas that Aftoctonia one, if I'm going into that, I know what I'm getting. I know I'm going into it basically to listen to
The whole,
an ambient synth album with a little bit of black metal thrown in.
yeah, so true, so true. But saying that, tracks 1 to 3 on this were
Stellar.
very stellar, yeah, very top tier. Like definitely go check this out. It's really, really, really good. Let us know what you think of it, and let us know what you think of that last track. Yeah, if you are new here and like this kind of content, we put out videos every Wednesday and Friday covering the latest in the niche space of underground black metal. So give us a subscribe, and we will hopefully catch you in the next one.